Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, and on here I talk about faith, bipolar 1 disorder, and whatever is on my mind. I'm doing a series on women in the Bible. If that's something you're interested in, don't forget to like and subscribe. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because I am 41 years old, and I grew up going to church, and I'm always learning more about the Bible, but I've never learned much about the women. And that's something that I am set out to do this year. And so I'm not a professional. I haven't been to theology school. I have never been to Bible college. I just like to read the Bible and talk about it. So I'm gonna go with this girl today, this woman named Rahab. There are several ways to pronounce her name that I've heard. I'm gonna go with Rahab. We first see her appear way back in the Old Testament in the book of Joshua. That's the one after Deuteronomy. And she's introduced to us as a lady of the night. So she was a Canaanite woman living in the city of Jericho, which is modern day Israel and Palestine. Okay, and they worshipped several deities in Jericho. Probably the one we're all most familiar with would be Baal. You can find him in Christianity as well as the Lesser Key of Solomon. He's like the leader of 60 legions of demons or something like that. And this is a really interesting time period because Moses had just passed away and the Israelites were like on fire with God. Okay, like their leader had just died. Joshua was his successor, and he starts implementing like a mass takeover of all these tribes. And this included the indigenous population of Jericho. Now, this particular region was important to the Israelites because they believed it to be the promised land. The city was really old. And it had this ancient wall surrounding it, and it was so big that there were literally houses and villages and walkways and pathways inside of it. And this is where Rahab lived. And the city wall actually had a gate specifically designed to keep the Israelites out. Joshua decides that he wants Jericho. He's got Jericho on his mind, and he decides to send in a couple of spies to scout the city. But they're not very good spies. They go over to Rahab's house, the brothel, and they're like instantly spotted, and it gets back to the king. And they send a couple of soldiers over to her house to question her. And in Joshua 2:3, they say, "Bring out the men who have come to you, who entered your house, for they have come to search out all the land." And she replies, "True, the men came to me, but I did not know who they or where they were from." So she points the soldiers in the direction of the city gates, and they run out into the night, and they fruitlessly search, and they soon get locked out of the gate. So they're stuck outside of Jericho. Next, we see her going up the stairs to the roof, where it's revealed that she has the spies hidden under some stalks of flax. And she says to them, "I know the Lord has given you the land." She says everyone is scared because they've heard of the other takeovers. Word was getting around that the Israelites weren't really, they weren't messing around, man. She also said that they had heard about the parting of the Red Sea, and she reveals that she believes in God. She doesn't believe in Baal or those deities. She's heard the stories about God, and she found her faith. This is where it gets a little tricky, because after she lets the spies down from her window with a scarlet rope, she asks them to spare the life of her and her family. And while they do agree, they have some special instructions for her. One, as long as she tells no one about their plans or where they are, and as long as her family comes to her house and they stay there, and they warn her not to let her family go into the streets or blood will be on their own hands. And if she betrays them, the deal is off. And they tell her to hang that scarlet cord in her window, and the soldiers will know not to go there. So This invasion and a massacre was actually a huge turning point for Rahab. Things started looking up, and she leaves the life. She gets married. She gets married to an Israelite from Judah. His name was Salmon, and they go on to have a son named Boaz, also pronounced Booze. Boaz marries Ruth from the book of Ruth. Rahab is also the third great-grandmother to David, the king of Israel. He's in the Bible quite a bit. And it's also said that in Matthew 1 through 25, they discuss Rahab as being part of the genealogy of Jesus Christ. So, what can be learned? Well, be brave in the Lord. She wasn't scared of anybody. She wasn't scared of anyone. You know, and she didn't care about being unpopular, apparently. You know, they were worshiping El and Baal, and it was a cultural norm, and she went against the norm and rejected it because she knew they were false deities. And I know as a Christian, you get called stupid and crazy a lot, and it was the same way for them when they believed in God. She's also proof that you can change. You know, being a lady of the night, I'm sure gave her a certain reputation, and she decided enough was enough. She wanted to be a godly woman, and she went for it regardless of people's opinions. It kind of reminds me of Jesus and how we don't have to go through what she did to find salvation. You know, Jesus died on the cross for her sins. We have it pretty lucky in comparison to her. You know, call upon the name of the Lord and you will be saved. And I also kind of wanted to add at the end of this video, I'll put the phone number in the description. If you are like a current or a former sex worker, there is a hotline that you can call if you need support, and that is 1-877-776-2004. And like I said, I'll put that link down in the description. And well, that's all I have. My morning focus today is to go to work. Oh goody. And I'm gonna bake some cinnamon rolls and try to stay motivated. I'm on Latuda now, and hopefully it gives me a little burst of energy and doesn't make me dizzy or something. I'm excited to be on it. So all right guys, that's all I have for you today. Have a wonderful day. Bye.